Hello everyone, and welcome to the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Care Network. I'm Dean, the host of the N.A.R.C.N Network and channel, and also the host of the Unmasking the Narcissist channel. Today I'm going to be presenting to you episode 119, and this is going to be part 1 of episode 119. I did actually have to redo this video because there was a bit of a glitch when I actually did the first version of this, and I'm having to re-record it here right now because there was something that went on with the first time that I did it. But basically this is going to be part 1 of episode 119. And the topic and content of episode 119, part 1, is going to be bipolar disorder, histrionic personality disorder, and the differences between them, but also the things that are the same within narcissistic personality disorder. So this is basically part 1, and in part 1 we're just going to go right into it. And we're going to talk about some of the things that are common and uncommon with these disorders, and how they are very similar to the order of to the condition of narcissistic personality disorder. So there's a number of issues that bipolar disorder, borderline disorder, histrionic personality disorder, and narcissistic personality disorder, as well as H.P.D, antisocial personality disorder, that all these disorders share. One of those issues is abandonment issues or fear of abandonment. Another one of these issues is a fear of being labeled as disordered. A fear of real intimacy. Not just intimacy in an emotional way, but that is one of the large fears of this. But much less with intimacy of a sexual kind or a physical kind. That doesn't really play into these disorders in the same way as emotional intimacy actually affects them. Another thing that affects all these disorders in the same way is being judged. Another thing as well is a tendency towards anger or fury or acting out. Another common thing to all of them is lying or being deceptive. As well as a list of some other particular things that are common with these traits, but these are a few of the most common ones that we've just talked about here. All of these points listed here, as well as many more, all stem from the same affected source factor, and that is how do they, or how could they? These particular questions being posed as how could they do something or whatever, or how could they be this particular way. These affect the control of the subject and how high or important is the threat level to that subject or to that narcissist. All these things decide how that narcissist conduct themselves. This is something that both bipolar disorder, histrionic personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and antisocial personality disorder sufferers think about at all times. They are all on high alert to these threats to them at all times. Why is this, you ask? Because these disorders all share the common root elements, and this causes patients or sufferers with these disorders to think and act very much alike. This is not to say that there aren't differences between bipolar disorder, histrionic personality disorder, or antisocial personality disorder. There are differences, but there are more things in common with these disorders and more things in common with narcissistic personality disorder than not common. And this makes these disorders very similar. So similar, and so similar to narcissistic personality disorder, that it is hard to separate them from just being a different form of N.P.D. Because as we are about to discuss in some upcoming in the other upcoming episodes, part 2 and part 3, this is what I believe they actually are. And here's why I believe the science behind my statement that bipolar disorder, histrionic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, and narcissistic personality disorder are all related. And this is why, I'm going to tell you why I believe this is the case. Let's examine what the American Institute for Psychiatry says about this using some of the references in the DSM-5 scale as reference. So what we're going to do is we're going to examine in part 2 of episode 119 what the DSM-5 scale says about all these reference points that we've just talked about. So I'm going to say to you guys, please check out part 2. We're going to go into this stuff in part 2, and I'm going to give you some comparisons between these disorders, what makes them alike, what makes them behaviorally alike for the narcissist or for the individual sufferers who have these disorders. We're going to do some comparison of them, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about why they are common and why I think they are all at the root source, just different forms of narcissistic personality disorder. So please stay tuned for part 2 of episode 119. It's going to be coming up right after this video, and I hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to catch you with some other content, but also part 2 and part 3 of this episode 119.